A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 24th day of February 2025. Well, just looking at what else is there besides sports conversations that we are going to be having. Well, they are keeping up with Barry preparations for the former chairman of the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, the late Josh Chebukati. The family will be giving a brief today. And also, there is a Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi, is attending the UN conference in Geneva. That's a story that we're going to look at from the international front. So part of that, and also remember, House committees are meeting. Today is not a day when they go to the chambers and pass legislation, talk about the bills that have been presented to the floor of the Senate and the National Assembly, but the various committees are going to be having meetings, and our parliamentary team is going to be at Parliament buildings and giving us reports on those. Part of the news cycle that we've got for you right here on KBC Channel 1. Sports-wise, we're going to be having three conversations. One, the role of psychology in sports. What is it all about for individual athletes, team athletes, and also for those who serve in technical benches? And also we're going to be having a conversation about foot volley. Think of volleyball played in the format of beach volleyball. So that's a conversation. But now let's start with one for people who are not afraid of water that is in excess of the capacity of a pail. Swimming, that's the language people here use. Maji kizidi ya karai sikaribi. But let's talk about it, and it is all about World Masters Swimming Championships. Kenya held a Masters event, and so let's get to know what this is all about. In studio with me, I've got Jacqueline Mashari here from Assistant Secretary Kiambu Aquatics. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we've got Nongo, who's the chair of Moranga Aquatics.
Welcome, sir.
Now, I'm just looking at the two of you, and the surprising thing is, these medals that she has, she won over the weekend, right?
Yes.
For the Masters. Because the first thing I want to ask is, what's this age grade for Masters? I look at it from the athletics perspective. For women, minimum age is 35. I think when it comes to road running, and 40 for the men. So what about swimming?
Swimming is very interesting when it comes to the Masters. The Masters is beginning at age 25 years and above, such that you're swimming according to your age categories. They are divided according to the World Aquatics Guidance, every 5-year age group. So 25 years to 30 years, 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, like that, all the way up, depending on how many age categories you have or the participants who are there.
Very interesting, because I'm trying to think if Charlie Claw, who is an Olympian, he's one of the best we've had from the continent and in the world, that means he's eligible to compete. So how do you try and make that balance such that there is the aspect of bringing in the who are older?
Okay.
Such that, people don't say you can go take the best in the world just because they meet the criteria.
Okay. Let me maybe start by acknowledging the efforts that the National Federation has been able to do all through. I got into the world of swimming a while back in my campus years. And I remember there used to be, from time to time, a Masters Gala that was mainly organized within Nairobi County only. And sometimes you'd find maybe, 10 swimmers, 20 swimmers only. And most of them were the coaches and the lifeguards. No other swimmers would usually get the courage to come back into the field of swimming because maybe you're struggling or unajikakamua na mashughuli za dunia, adulting. But then let me talk about the first time that master swimming started getting traction was in 2021. I remember a group of a technical committee that came up. I think it started in Kiambu County, the time I really heard much about it. So in the first week of December that they called upon master swimmers and they said, okay, 25 years and above, you can swim. Can you finish a length? Can you swim according to the strokes, the stroke technique rules? Then come. and we have some
And a
fun.
length being minimum 20?
So a standard pool is either a short course, that is 25 meters, or a long course, 50 meters. But when we started, it wasn't standard, because the whole idea was to bring back the adults. Adults are fearful, especially of the distance. Will I finish? Will I be able to? Oh, my bones and all that. So we started with a 17-meter pool. And it was more towards bringing the enthusiasm back into the swimming fraternity, that the adults felt that, oh, we can do it.
Which meant that probably that was in a private establishment. 17.
Thank you, yes. That was a private heated pool, because some adults are really fearful of cold water, interestingly. But yeah, that's where we started. And then we had another one in 2022. Actually, we had two in 2022, in April and December again. And then we saw, okay, so a lot of swimmers, a lot of adults who are willing to take part in the event for their enjoyment, they are willing to make time in at the end of the year. So we started doing it annually. So 2023 was there. 2024 last year, it was there. But now by 2023 end, the December, it had a lot of swimmers. When we started in 2021, it had about 42, 46 swimmers from all over the place. Some people from Uasin Gishu, some people from Laikipia, they came to take part, even in Machakos County. And then in 2023, we had a total of about 150 swimmers from even Nakuru, and even counties that you thought that maybe they'd not be able to make it. And then the national...
An example, a county that people would ignore?
Usually, counties that are, interestingly, counties that are closer to Nairobi are more enthusiastic, or are more open to the idea of swimming.
Okay.
The farther away you go, then the more you will not necessarily closely find adults. I'm talking about adults mainly. The farther away you are from Nairobi, you know. But then from that time, based on the 2023 Masters that was organized by Kiambu Aquatics, then we found swimmers from Nakuru, swimmers from Mombasa, Uasin Gishu, Laikipia, Kisumu. There's even some representatives from Nyeri, from Meru. Now people started coming together. And then Kenya Aquatics now came, that is the National Federation, now to look into, okay, so there's this traction, so what do we do? Then that's when the National Masters came to be in 2024 as the first one. And then there was this one that was organized this year, that they decided to keep it annually also at the very early part of the year. So this was the second one.
Very well, Jacqueline. Let me come to you, Joseph. You know, trying to get, for a generation, if you're looking at people who are over 45, 50, and those who grew outside of Nairobi or didn't have the luxury of having a pool in their schools, then the original place where they learned to swim was the river. But as adulthood comes, they move away from that. Just how do you work to ensure that people get back to the sport?
Well, like for the question, but one more important that I also want to commend her for being the lead for Masters, and to add on that we had international, foreigners coming. We had Tanzania, we had Uganda, and of the latest we had Malaysia. They were here, they did participate. But back home, I personally from Muranga, and I'm a master swimmer. It's only that I did not participate on this one. That's why you see my table is a bit empty.
She has her blings.
Yeah, but she can assure you, the last gala, I have big. Now I swim under in the 64 years category. That swimmer, that age. And you find that what's happening now in Muranga, what you're doing is basic swimming. Learn to swim and safety. Learn to swim and safety. Then really catch up with counties like Nairobi and Kiambu. Of course, they're reading because of proximity with the facilities. Of late now, we were represented in last Masters by Muranga University. They look like Professor Muredi. He was swimming about 55 years. I didn't make it. In the last swimming there at Porterhouse, that was in Porterhouse. So Muranga was there. So what I'm doing is I bring them on board. Okay. The challenges I have in my county is that the facilities. One, first let me appreciate and commend the Vidlambi community. That's the Shah community, the Sari guy. They did put a short course Olympic pool at Muranga, at the middle of the bus there. you're going to find...
At the middle of the bus?
Yeah, the bus stop there. There's a pool with Vidulamji. They donated to the community and is under the school, Vidulamji community. So both high school and secondary school, we're having a pool there. We had our first gara there in February, our very first one in Muranga County on 8th. We had over 7 teams, 5 schools, some coming over from Kiambu. So I appreciate the leadership of Mr. Joseph Garoya, the principal. He almost gave us free. So what's the idea here? We're keeping each and every kid in Muranga afloat. Where do you get these facilities for training? Dakaini Dam, Madhya River, that's where Mr. Wahome people are riding away from. So you're getting them from the river into the pools. Our next gara will be coming next week, next weekend, 8th of March. This will be at ACK Memorial. Memorial borders Kimbu and Muranga County. Where do you find ACK Memorial? Just after Blue Post. That's where the boundaries are. I want to say thank you to Mr. Gishoke, the principal, ACK Memorial. He has taken over the assistance to have those facilities. However, I want big appreciation for the Kenya Aquatics led by the president, Madam Maureen Owiti. They are really into this, that they've delivered, and we also say thank you. More on that, we have like, if you get on board other institutions like, look at the KDF.
Yes.
With the best facility around at Urizi Complex. I was on encourage, my background is from the KDF. I did KDF for 24 years and I'm a physical training instructor. That's how I got my swimming. Now I left the KDF. Dr. Maureen Owit, we need to tell people what this office is doing. They are really into it, giving people that chance. As the devolution goes now you have Muranga. If you get the KDF on board, you see the police guys coming in, like the police bullet, you have Urinzi, you have the Red Barret. When these institutions get on board, sure enough, the devolution will go. Because where do we learn for the rescue and disaster stuff? To those institutions.
Yes, their training involves that.
Yep. So if we run into KDF for rescue and disaster, we go to the police for disaster and stuff. Definitely, when we bring these guys on board, we will see a different change of running aquatics. So thank you, Madam Mori, the Deputy President, Mr. Kabero, and the entire KEC. At Urenzi, we have a 50-meter pool. Of it, we had a visit with Dr. Maureen, and I'm sure they promised us. Most likely it might be ready by August because we'll soon be having our, is it level 3? African Championship level 3, zone 3. And that is one of the facilities we are looking at.
Because the other 50-meter pool we have is Kasarani.
Kasarani. Now is short of some measurements.
It's 49.
9. We can do.
You know.
And the challenges we have in Kasarani, you know. So if you have Urizi complex, see, where's the athletic going? Where's football? CAF? Is it Chan? Chan is going to Ulinzi. Why? That's a discipline force. You never mess around with those facilities. So if you have aquatic on board with such facility, you are good to go, Mr. Home.
Very well. Let's now, basically look at this, the age band. He's mentioned he's in the 60 to 64 class.
Age category, yeah.
And you don't ask ladies.
Komoyo mkujufu.
Yeah, I mean your band.
Yeah.
You can use that letter, actually. But okay, it's already here.
It's already here. It's fine.
It's known as category B, so you can do that little bit of homework. So just take a look at the age bands that we have so far from those who are competing over the weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so interestingly, the younger you are in sports, the more energetic you are. The more your muscle form is intact, it has more energy. The muscle twitch, the twitch muscles that we talk about, twitch muscles, it's easier for you to move faster when you're younger. The older you get, it gets a little more challenging unless you have been keeping a fitness schedule that you are ensuring your diet, your exercising and all that, even in your mental state. So of course, you're going to find that the younger swimmers are faster than the older swimmers. But when it comes to masters, it's slightly different, because you'd find in my age category, somebody who is in an older age category could be even faster than me. Possibly they have been training more than I have. So, and this comes with a lot of challenges that go on masters. As masters, most of them are parents. 99%, some of them are grandparents, some of them are possibly great-grandparents by now. So to even find time with your adulting, with adulting we talk of the parenthood, at work, the economy. So you're finding time to look for money, and now finding your time to do the exercise may not be as easy. The pools are not readily available. Let's say, for example, you come to work at, maybe you're supposed to be at work by 8. Now there's traffic jam, so you have to leave home by 6, maybe, depending on your route. So you have gone at 6, left the house. By the time you get back home, it's at 7. The lunch break that you have is possibly an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And around you, there is no pool around you. So what do? The time that you can find is possibly earlier in the morning, or maybe that 30 minutes lunch break. That means you either skip lunch or then in the evening. Which pools are open at that time? Very few. And those are some of the challenges. For you to be a master's swimmer, that I am, and I have been for a while, I'm very passionate about it, it takes a lot of sacrifice. So for you to see even swimmers swimming very fast in their older categories, it's not easy. It's a lot of sacrifice, and we applaud the swimmers for that.
Actually, no, because you're mentioning that, the whole thing is, what's the approach for, reaching out to the first? He says, there's the Shah community actually gave them a pool right in the heart of Murang'a town.
Yeah.
Talk about Kiambu, because that's the place where you've got the proximity now.
So let me start from, when it comes to swimming competitions, it starts from a younger age.
Yes.
We have swimmers from as young as even 5 years old who go for competitions, depending on the kind of competitions they go to, because we have development galas, not under the jurisdiction necessarily of county associations, for example, the one I serve in. And the development galas are those that you use the noodles and the kickboards, the training aids when you're competing. And then we have now the county association galas that are sanctioned by the National Federation, Kenya Aquatics. So for you to take part in a gala, there has to be a swimming pool. Does the federation or association own a swimming pool?
No.
Not yet. So what do? You go to request to host a gala, mostly in a space where it would be the society would not have an issue, let me put quote unquote, will have an issue to have their children there. So in most cases, it's an institution. So where are these institutions that have these swimming pools? You have to look for the standard swimming pool. Standard swimming pool is at least the short course. Those are the majority of swimming competitions. They are held in standard swimming pools, the 25-meter pools. So as you look at the 25-meter pool, you also look at how many lanes does it have, and that means how wide is it and how shallow is it for the sake of diving, so that somebody does not dive and hit their head or break their teeth or something as they are diving. So those kind of pools, there are not many. Most pools you'll find they are in international institutions. Are they for free? Nope. So you have to, most of the time, hire out. So you request to hire, to pay them, so that then they can allow you to have your kids and your gala there. Some of the challenges now come in with the bit of access, because when you have a swimming competition, you want a space where swimmers can compete. There has to be washrooms that are very clean and sanitary. You have to have space for people to sit, because now parents come in to watch their children swim. There's also the space for the officiating, because we have judges. We have stroke judges, we have timekeepers, we have the referee, we have the competition secretariats that we call them the pool deck officials. So if you don't have that space, then that becomes harder for you to host a gala there. So now, even the number of pools that you can host galas in, they have shrunk even more. So now those are some of the challenges when it comes to hosting galas that come in. Yeah.
Very interesting. And when depth of a pool required for proper competition? So
when you're coming to the side where you're supposed to dive, at least 1.3 meters, so that then you can have, as a swimmer, there is a way you're supposed to dive, whether it's shallow or deep. But now for the safety purposes, at least 1.3 meters and going downwards, so 1.4 and the rest.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about, getting someone to understand the different strokes, Joseph. Let's start with the freestyle and how it is judged, at this level. Because, like she mentioned, twitch muscles and everything, it may not be as perfect as maybe a world-class swimmer.
Freestyle.
Let's start with that.
Freestyle is free. So, but you must get there to the start and the finish. But how do you go free? Most likely, if I demonstrate my heart, you dive in, then use your hearts. But the technical parts, we as coaches, what am I emphasizing on? The streamline, the bubbling, the glide, and the time. So you must make sure you touch from wall to wall, and that's free. But how gonna win? If it is free, you may be walking, but will you ever win? You can't. So that's freestyle. But the basic demonstration is dive in, have a streamline, pull use your hearts. Most likely we go more into technical detail, a high elbow, there's that catch, and the glide and kick. That's freestyle from the wall to wall. But before we go for the next question, I want to follow up on the question you asked, Jackie, about for psychology and support. We are running a program on PSS.
Yes.
Personally, I'm a counselor in PSS. That's psychosocial support and the concept of working with traumatized children. Now I want to bring on board what we Kenya Aquatic and the Special Olympics, have we ever really got into that? How do these kids swim, autism, intellectual challenge? So we have a program which will start soon, and we already had one kid from Mugumoini. I used to be in Kiambu, and there's a public school called Mugumoini with special kids unit, and we have one boy called Mwangi Davis. He'll be going to German with a special category. So the psychology part, what are we looking at? Where are these kids? Where are the APDK, physically disabled? Yes. Where are these teams as far as swimming is concerned? We need to go into that. So we have taught them about freestyle, but more I emphasize of safety, run to swim, and safety before you get to the next level. But I hope I've answered your freestyle question.
Yes, okay, freestyle comes in through. But because you've also mentioned that, therapeutic use for swimming. Some of the people, I got to see in the story that Barclay did for us on Saturday, was that there are people who are recovering from strokes.
Yeah.
Very.
Or maybe hypertension. What's the therapeutic way of, for swimming, especially for those who are over 40, 45, 50?
Yeah, if you go to the physician's record, they recommend those age to swimming. My part, I'm 64. It's a hydrotherapy kind of approach. The most important thing is the mental preparedness, the mental alertness, because one thing, anytime I'll rest in peace if I don't make this good. So the more kicks, the more floats, of course with the guidance of the coach. That is the part. And it is practical, then expressing it sometimes is a challenge because it's the therapy, it's the hydrotherapy, and that's it. We are running programs like before and after classes. So those who are able to make before work, hit the pool, After work, hit the pool. Where do you find those facilities? In Muranga, that's the only place we have. In Kiambu, I'm sure she's learning a program at her pool. That's where she trains. Those before and after is what you bring in people. But the psychology part is a PSS, psychosocial support, to anybody, kids and their age.
Okay.
That's my contribution.
For the children and those who are elderly?
Yep.
And then get them support and all. And, you know, a lot of hydrotherapy. I see even athletes who are in recovery.
They use the pool.
They use the pool to help them get back, you know, movement and all of that. You know, trying to resist the water to get them their strength back. And let me come now to breaststroke not the breaststroke. Actually, I think one of the most technical ones, butterfly.
And she's the best in butterfly. I can tell you she's the best. I think some of these men
Okay, sawa tuambie sasa.
should be a medal for butterfly here.
Okay, yes. So which is the one for butterfly? I'm sure you'd identify.
One of the silvers.
Yes.
One of the silvers here is a butterfly one. Yeah.
Just give us how we look at butterfly and it's very, very technical. There is a way you're supposed to move. Just describe that from what you'd say normal competition and how different it is at master's level.
Okay. For me, whenever I'm coaching, being a coach, and whenever I'm trying to swim it, the easiest way of putting it, you cannot swim butterfly to a layman language. You cannot swim butterfly without a wave. If you don't have a wave, you don't have a butterfly. You have something totally different, which is very hard to swim and very tiring. Sometimes you'll find even back aches when you're doing it. So ideally, with your wave, you dive in, you dive out. You dive in, you dive out. And that's the easiest way of putting it. If I go now into the technical bit of breaking it down, now it becomes more technical. But ideally, with a wave, you're diving in with a wave, dive out with a wave, like that. Yeah.
Foot movement. Where is the difference?
Yes.
Well, actually, for the legs.
For the legs, okay. So as you're swimming butterfly, your legs have to be together. When I coach, especially my kids, I usually tell them, because you're trying to swim like a dolphin, does a dolphin have legs? No. So you have to put your legs together to pretend that you have a fin. So the leg movements needs to be at the same time and together, not apart. So together. So legs together, and they are going at the same time. So as you dive in, legs are going up naturally. Even if you try right now in the pool, you'll want to dive in, your body, your chest goes down, your legs come up. When you're diving out, what happens? Legs go down. You dive in, legs come up. You dive out, legs go down. It's very natural when you try it. It's more natural when you try it than when you explain it. But ideally, dive in, dive out. Yeah.
So, and at this point, it's at the master's level where, I mean, with time, they give you a little bit of leeway with kicking movements.
No. What do you mean by the leeway?
I mean, because when I was looking at it, just going through this, in the butterfly, there is how they, for example, try to kick in the breaststroke.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, master's level versus swimming when you're young, the stroke rules do not change. So it's just that you being a master's swimmer, you need to be more aware of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how more efficient you can make it. So it is expected that as a master swimmer, your efficiency levels in your stroke is much higher than these young swimmers, you see. So yes, there is no leeway.
A leeway for that.
You will get a DQ, disqualification. You will get a DQ if you do flutter kicks. For example, you've seen people swim butterfly and the legs go apart and then one foot hits the water before the other. So it's pattern, alternating kicks. That's a disqualification. They need to be at the same time, whether you're young or old.
Now the thing is, Joseph, now, preparing for this, and also the standards that have been set, so each one of you can contribute to this. You know, you have got all these swimmers who come in, you have your Masters Gala, and you're now prepared and preparing for the World's event that's going to be in Singapore. What's there for the next 4 or 5 months as people build up to this and see how you can get more Masters swimmers qualified?
Well, with the solid leadership of the Kenya Aquatics, and of course you people coming in, because you're telling them, wow, what are we doing? This is what you're doing in the Kenya Aquatics. That's a budget sale. We got budget allocation. The knock is coming in. Like if I'm with Jackie and I'm the coach for Jackie and she's going to Singapore, and for sure I know she qualified, she's going for that's no time issue. She should be in Singapore. Now you can imagine the preparation, the Kenya Aquatics input, the budget allocation, the request, the training pattern. So I'm preparing Jack now to represent Kenya as a master aquatic champion. So the budget and the government coming in to recognize masters as part of their sports budget. So my take is NOC is coming in through the Kenya Aquatics leadership. Definitely we are putting up a team. Hopefully that will be soon. And then we have ample time of training with the correct facilities and ease of access to the government aquatic facilities. That's my take. So I'm sure the Kenya Aquatics are ready for that.
Let's talk about, Jacqueline, to you. Building up to this, you are a coach, you've got the the advantage of being in the water all around, but he's mentioned something, getting a proper competition pulled up, because I know if you go to Singapore, you'll do the 50 meter.
Yes, it's a long course.
So he's mentioned, we are talking about Ulinzi and Kasarani. Tell us about accessing these two places.
So let me talk on 2 fronts. The first one, it's the individual one, whereby once you are notified, by now I know a few individuals have been selected based on the qualifying times. So let me start from maybe the beginning. Singapore, that is coming up, is it May, July? July.
End of July.
End of July. The swimmers who are going to go, they must have met a qualifying time. So they must be swimming faster, or they must have swum faster than those times to make it. And I know it's it's less than 10 individuals who have been selected. The Kenya Aquatics will be able to give us those numbers, and we'll be able to tell the individuals. So once you have been notified that you have qualified, it starts from you as the individual. Being a master's swimmer, you have your schedules, your daily schedule, daily routine. So what can you do to make sure that you're mentally prepared, that you're physically prepared, and you have the competition fitness in readiness for it? So you as an individual have to make time for yourself, your own individual training. Then there is the second front. As Kenya Aquatics, once they have been able to round up the team that is qualified to take part in the event, they're going to get a head coach, they're going to get a team manager. And then they're going to pull these individuals together and create a training schedule for them, now as a team. And once they do that, they'll be doing it so often in readiness for the Singapore. And then now the other things come in terms of the logistics and all that. I need to mention that aside from Singapore, that has the qualifying times, based on the Masters Championship that we just had this weekend, there's also going to be a Tanzania Masters sometime in May. The Masters, they call themselves Tanzanites. The Tanzanites had mentioned that they wanted to invite Kenya for a Masters Championship in May. And aside from that, we always have these corporate Masters Championships, the interbanks and inter-insurance. And then now leading up to now the end of the year that Kiambu always has, the annual Masters Gala that is likely to be the end of November there, but the date will be communicated. So all this depends. For those Singapore, they start now. For those preparing for the Tanzania, because I doubt that it will, the Tanzania, I don't think it will have qualifying times. When it doesn't have qualifying times, as many as can be, can go. So you start preparing there.
Okay. So, yeah, wanted to come, because you've mentioned that in the case of that, and just about come to, because we need to look at it from the international point. If you have an event, for example, the Nairobi event, was there a base?
A qualifying time?
A qualifying or an entry standard?
For this Masters, no, there was no qualifying times.
Mm.
It was open so long as you know the rules of the strokes and you are 25 years and over. If you remember now, there's the 81-year-old. That was the oldest that we had in this particular gala. So it doesn't matter how old you are, so long as you know how to swim the strokes in the correct technique, then it was open.
Let's talk about, the region, and we easily know that probably, South Africa, Tunisia, Morocco, and that would pick up this level of sport quite big. And she's mentioned Tanzania. How do you see master swimming around the region, or even if we were to speak about our zone 3, for swimming zone 3, where you bring in Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Botswana, those who are around us.
We are the top, man. And I want to give you a sure bet that the level we are going, or the direction we are taking, the traction, we are the top. Now you see, even example now Tanzanians are inviting us for. It is the quality of swimming they have found here. Uganda, last year she was in Uganda. It's the quality of swimming currently in Kenya. The only challenge may be, we will find ourselves at the level of when we are doing zone 3, because it will be here. And that's how they are going really to do, it's a yardstick on where we are.
Yes.
But currently, in East and Central, we are the best. However, with the input of those facilities and equipment, the corporates coming in, we will be the best. Now look at the military games, for example. Did they have swimming? No. Did not they have swimming?
But the 2002 military games had swimming. When Kenya hosted it.
Yes.
But the Abuja games didn't have swimming.
Yeah, they did not have swimming. Who are the best swimmers in Kenya? KDF. Look at the Mtongo base. The divers. Who are these guys? These are the guys now we want to put in place. Okay, Kenya Navy had a rowing team, It's used to do in Sagana. That's another area. It's all related with aquatic. So when we put these guys into the arena, definitely are going to get. When the best swimmer back then when I was in the forces, our best diver by then, 90s, was a called Lamako. He was a Turkana guy. What's happening around Lake Turkana? We need to get these guys on board. And by this, let me appreciate the county bosses, governors, like we got Kajiado. They are coming very strong with seahorses. We have, Machakos. That's the sea of Machakos.
Yeah.
Look at Washingisho, how this coming in Illinois. Kakamega is on board. Vihiga, Busia is coming. Look at Kisumu, it's coming up. So, Kiambu, we, being the young kid in the block, definitely we are going to get there. When devolution goes out, then we are going to have the best. Maybe from Muranga County, I'm going to have 4 or 5 Jackies.
Very well. So, Jackie, and now as you your next few months, because we're coming to the end of this session, getting ready for the next few months. And anybody who would like to up their game, how should they get it? Because, there are probably people who swim somewhere, but how they may want to reach out to you and say, let's compete, let's train together and see if I can make it to Singapore.
Yeah, sure. The kind of preparation has a lot to do with, as I said, for Masters Championships, it has to be very intrinsic. It has to come from you. Nobody can come and tell you, Jackie, no, you are going to do this. And I said, because we don't deal with adults the same way. It has to come from you. You have to make the time for training. You can be able to reach us. For example, I serve within the Harpoons, for example. There are many other clubs and teams that are there. And you can be able to always reach out to either, if you don't know what's near you, you can ask your county association, or you can even reach out to Kenya Aquatics. But for example, for the Harpoons, because we are all over, there are many swimmers all over, always get in touch with a coach. A coach will help to guide you because they can see what you're doing. You're concentrating on how it feels, but a coach will look at it and say, no, 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 no. It might feel okay to you, but no, there is a more efficient way of doing it. There is a better way. And to be able to push you, we all need to have some assistance. So when you do that from you, then you can be able to get assistance from outside.
You kept mentioning one thing, safety in the water. Just close with that. Safety in the water.
Water safety. What data do you have on the drone cases? Those who succumb to this. What's the data we have in this country? Disaster management. What are the county guys doing? What are they doing as far as safety is concerned? Now, my point here, what I'm driving home is, each and every school in Murang'a County will have an opportunity to learn to swim, and safety. We have pushed to a point that we are giving free coaching to schools so long you access a pool. My coaches and my entire committee and the coaches in Murang'a, we have volunteered to make sure whenever a team or kids are going to any pool, we are going to make sure that there is a coach keeping watch from our federation, certified lifeguards. So we are calling upon those facilities, hotels, pool, whoever you're employing, kindly have a background check of who you're putting on to that pool. That's where you're losing big time. Now CBC is on. We have gone to the CBC classes. We're also giving lectures, classes, sessions into CBC classes. And for your information, we are going to have a junior championship coming very soon, in 2 weeks' time. So teams are really preparing, and we are going to have a big record for schools who did not participate last year. And also, Murang'a, I'm hosting the regional competition for JS competition. Nationals will be in Mombasa. Next time, I'm going to tell you about breaststroke. You never asked about the breaststroke.
We'll talk about the
That's
breaststroke.
later, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Joseph Ndungu, he is the chair of Murang'a Aquatics, and
Jacqueline Masharia.
Jacqueline Masharia. You share a name with our colleague. By the way.
Is it?
Yes.
Could I just say something, just very, very briefly? It's always good, maybe a call to parents. It's always good to start coaching very, very early, because then you get the opportunities to help them grow, and as they grow, then they can take up even the Masters Swimming Championships. And as we speak now, there is now an upcoming Level 2 Swimming Championship that will be at Regis Runda Academy, hosted by Kiambu Aquatics. It is on date 1 and date 2 this coming weekend. And it's a Level 2 now with qualifying times. But now you see, if you don't start the kids early, they don't get the courage to go on into the Masters.
Thank you very much. She's the Assistant Secretary, Kiambu Aquatics, and also won 7 medals in the Master Swimming Championships over the weekend. We take a short break, and as we get the story of Roy Mutimba, and next, let's get to speak about foot volleyball. Just to put it simply, playing beach volleyball. Think of the whole concept of beach volleyball, but this time, no hands involved, no goalkeeper involved, all that coming up with the founder of the sport, Mercy Mwasa.
Hi, my name is Roy Mutimba. I'm 16 years old. I'm currently playing soccer in a sports academy in the US. My mom and I have migrated to the US like 2 years ago. We got our green cards, and I was looking for a sports academy to excel in my soccer that can help me with my academics in soccer. And I found Spire Academy. The coaches were supportive, the staff was supportive, so I knew it was the right place to go.
Why soccer?
Ever since I was young, I've always enjoyed watching soccer, and my parents have really encouraged me and supported me through soccer, playing in different clubs as a kid, and it's always just been fun for me.
Who inspires you when you watch TV?
For someone who inspires me that's Kenyan is Victor Wanyama. He's made it far. He's played for Tottenham, played in the Champions League. And another inspiration would be Cristiano Ronaldo. He's one of the best soccer players in the world, and he's just done amazing things, and his work ethic is just something to look up to.
So which club do you follow?
I follow Liverpool because I just like that team, the players, we've won some trophies, and right now we're doing good. So
What do you think the season will end up for them?
I think Liverpool is gonna win at least one major trophy, the Premier League, Champions League, considering we're top of everything. So
You schooled here or you continued your studies abroad?
I'm doing my studies abroad right now, and just hoping to get into either good college or to go pro. Right now I'm just doing basic high school classes, algebra, chemistry, all that.
How do you balance your studies with soccer?
Team at Spire is really helpful with that. They make sure we get enough time to do all our classwork while still training 2 times a day. And like, for example, coming here, the school's still going on because I got called up for the under-17, and I still have to balance school and the actual soccer. So they email me what to do, and they make sure I do the work on time, and they're very supportive.
How are you doing academically?
My academics are good. My GPA is 3.9, and yeah, doing well.
What have you achieved so far since you started playing soccer?
I've played in many different tournaments. I've played in the East African Chipkezi tournament, USYS tournament in America, and I've made it to the semis and finals in some of them, and yeah, I've played multiple games.
Most memorable and why?
Most memorable would be the Chipkezi tournament back here in East Africa and Tanzania, because our team made the finals. Even though we didn't win, it was really fun, and I enjoyed that.
How did it feel to get your first national call-up to the under-17 team?
I was excited, especially since I haven't played for any sort of like big tournament as big as the AFCON qualifiers, and yeah, I was really just excited.
How did they support you?
So I talked to the coach, I sent him my highlight videos, I kept in contact, and yeah.
I like that you push yourself. So you didn't make the team for the Sekafa qualifiers. How does it make you feel and going forwards?
Makes me want to push even more for next year when I'm for the under-18s or under-20s, or even the national team when I'm much older. So I'm excited to keep pushing and hopefully play next year or the year after.
The national under-20 team qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time. They've never done it. And for me, it's a year of breakthrough for the youngsters to come on board. What is your comment about that?
It shows that Kenyan football is really improving, and that's one thing I'd want to be a part of and contribute towards that.
What is your inspiration? What motivates you when you wake up every day?
Just like my parents pushing me to reach the next level, always making sure I'm on time to things and I'm staying motivated. The people around me, my peers, pushing me to the next level, because everyone wants to get to the next level, and it's like you're competing with them but working with them, and it helps me push to the next level.
Yeah, so Roy is my last born son. And I come from a family where we are actually sports people, but we didn't advance. Like I remember my two eldest brothers were very good at football, but because the schools they went in could not advance them, they just stopped there. So when I saw that Roy was interested in sports, I thought this is a chance for us to support him so that he can advance. Because these days it's not just about academics. You also want a well-balanced boy who can do sports. And therefore, right from the beginning, when he was around 7, 8, he started participating in football events. The mother used to run an academy called Rover Academy, and she really pushed him to excel there. And I think my role has just been to support him, make sure that he's comfortable. He wants to play. At first I thought he'll play striker, then he said, no, I'm good at center back, and we said, fine, we are going to support you at center back. Yeah, so for me, him being called to the under-17 was a real momentous event, and we supported him. It's only that he had such a short time to really practice and come to that level of fitness that was needed. You know, traveling from the US to here is such a long journey. So we are just proud that he made it, although he's not in camp. But ours, and especially me, we agreed with the mother that she'll be the one coming up with objectives, and I'll be the one funding. so I've played my role of just ensuring that I provide, I support whenever it's needed, both financially, emotionally, and as a young boy, mentor him so that he can balance between sports, academics, and other interests. Yeah, and so far he has not let us down. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in?
And welcome back to Sports Check this Monday morning, the 24th day of February 2025. Well, at the moment we know we'll be joining our team that is in Parliament as the Cabinet Secretary for Information Communications and the Digital Economy. The Honorable William Kapogo is meeting with the Parliamentary Committee. We shall be joining them when at that point comes. But we get into a second conversation on Sports Check. It's about a sport that is hybridized, so to speak. Foot volley, think of it. It's in every sense identical to beach volleyball, but we play with your feet. And we've got Masi Mwasa, who got into the sport, and her story is a bit interesting. She got into another sport where Kenyans now have started getting into it. Masi, a very good morning to you.
And good morning to you too, sir.
You started off in kabaddi.
That is right.
Now foot volleyball.
Now foot volley.
What was your kabaddi experience and why you had to move away from the sport?
All right.
That's, you know, to be honest, has given a lot of Kenyans a lot of opportunities to play, especially in India.
My experience at kabaddi has everything to do with why and how I am here today. I started off as a player in 2016, part of the Kenya women's team, national team. And at 2019, 3 years later, I was a coach and the founder of kabaddi in Machakos County. And then we've managed to develop kabaddi with a very, very able team. And at 2021, I was part of the management at the national level. And then 2 years later, I now transitioned to foot volley because kabaddi had gotten to a place that you wanted it to be.
So, foot volley,
yes.
What drew you to the sport?
It was quite interesting seeing footballers play football on a volleyball court. That's how I saw it. And then I came to understand it's just a wool sport on its own, because I thought first maybe they're just training or it was something to do with, I never thought it was something official. So when I was overwhelmed by the idea of it all, and then I decided, let me just check it out and see what is all this about. And then doing my research, I realized it's a very big sport in the European countries. And then I did another research to realize there's no football in Kenya. And that is where I got the niche to just focus now on football.
You know, this football, I mean, looking at the pictures that we have, people, you know, kicking over that, how different is it from a sport that is very big, I think, Indonesia, Malaysia? It's called sepak.
Yes, 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 yes.
So how different is it?
Actually, I haven't gotten details about sepak, but it is pretty much the same. It's just, there are definitely key differences, but now with football, the regulations and everything all coming from Brazil and all that. And so I'm not sure about the Indonesian.
Okay, well, first of all, I would say the ball is different, because I think sepak
that is
uses,
right.
it's about an oversized, I mean, about the size of a handball. But you use a standard football here.
It's FT5 size.
Wow. Number 5, that's what they would use in the league.
That is right.
So just take us through, first of all, the dimensions of this court that you play on.
The court has to be 8 meters by 8 meters on one side of the court and 8 meters by 8 meters on the other side of the court. So the entire space is 16 meters by 8 meters. Divided in the middle, no midline. This means if a player needs to pick a ball or fetch a ball that is about to land on the other court under the net, you may pick it and keep the ball at play. Beyond the size, it's also the players have to be two players per team, and no substitutions.
That's everything, beach volleyball.
That is everything. Beach foot volley, actually.
Yes, I'm saying, but identical
to
to the rules.
Yes, beach
to beach
volleyball.
Okay, take us through the rules now. Number of touches, plays, scoring.
First off, the ball is served on a hill. You create a hill on the sand and then kick the ball to serve the ball. And the opponents will receive the ball, pass the ball, and set the ball. Just the basic 3 touches that happen in volleyball. And with the third touch, that is where you attack, depending on how now you want to place the ball according to your skills and how you've advanced in understanding the game.
Let's now, one thing you haven't mentioned, how high is the net?
The net is 2.2 meters and 2 meters for women. Yes.
2.2 meters for the
for men.
2 meters for women.
Yes.
So take us through now the scoring and other, things that everyone should know, violations of the laws of the game and that.
The scoring is done pretty much like in volleyball. What you do, there has to be 2 sets. Each set, should Team A win 2 sets, they win the match. Should Team B win the second match, we have to have a third match to make
a third set, yes.
a third set rather. And the scoring system is each set goes up to 18 points. And should the 2 teams have 17 ups, the score difference has to be 2. So you go ahead and finish the set at 19. Yeah.
Difference of 2.
Difference of 2.
Other rule violations that people should know.
That would be, you can play the ball even if it is outside the court and the ball is still at play. You can go beyond the lines, the end lines on the court, and you should not touch the net, of course. And that is pretty much it, actually.
Well, a very interesting sport. Now, the other thing is, what kind of sand do you use? Because we know your last event was in Nyali, so that
is right.
We know that would be white. Those would be white sands, and because we've seen beach volleyball played anywhere, even landlocked countries that don't have beaches or anything, they still play. They still have beach volleyball. What kind of sand do you use?
We play on the beaches, of course, but then in areas where we've also developed foot volley, and we didn't have now the sand beach. We have improvised with river sand, sieving it, making it fine, and creating our courts.
Which one do you use? Is it the
It has to be fine, very, very fine, because it has to have the beach effects. You see, the sand on the beach is quite fine and a bit heavier than the river sand. So we do a lot of sieving. There's a whole structure that has to be followed when it comes to making the courts.
Okay, well, there you've had it from Masi, and she is, behind foot volley in Kenya. Just over a week ago, you had a league event in Nyali.
Yes.
So you'll be telling us about that, because we'd like to take a break at this point, and we'll come back and continue that conversation and what else they're doing, because one of the things about this sport is it works all around natural environments. What are they doing to make sure that the environment they play in is clean and safe? Coming up after this short break, our sign language interpreter this hour has been Lensa Odingo.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday from 10 p.m. and a rerun every Tuesday from 2 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Hini yago beka yago malisa hakuna mtu mwingine anakuingililia. Toa hapa. Mimi nimeogoja hata badala.
Ni ukule hiyo chakula unaonwa saa hii kula. Very good girl. Very good girl. What? Nini?
Tuko na emergency.
Ile emergency ya we.
Nipatie hiyo 200.
Mama Kaya ndio wako nayo.
Mama Kaya nipatie 200.
Mimi mutaharibu kazi yangu.
Chukua kunywa kama unataka.
Unaniruhusia maji?
Toka.
Unajua hapo unaweza ungua maji.
Mimi niko sawa, ongeza tu kuni hapa.
Unasikia nanuka kama majari?
It's so refreshing.
Refreshing?
Naipenda.
Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana Veini Watafarira ya Ruiga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji ulobobea katika habari,
Nyodoa mashio na magemaige,
burudani,
ni hali ya chokoro chokigwe nyimbo mwaki nyimbo hoda,
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma. Jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Soro FM.
Wellness is important in our daily lives, so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have by regular checkup. People don't know they have hypertension. They don't know they have diabetes.
I was pre-diabetic. I was afraid of getting lifestyle diseases because I come from a family that has lifestyle diseases.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Get ready for the shift season 2. We're shifting from the studio to the grassroots, where policy meets reality. Your views meet government's voice.
This is not just about principal secretaries or any senior member of government. It is about you.
From agriculture to infrastructure, health to housing, MSMEs to the digital superhighway, a creative economy and beyond.
Get exclusive updates as Principal Secretaries share first-hand insights on the bottom-up economic transformation agenda rollout.
As we shift in transforming Kenya, we also shift from the studio to come to the field to check on what is going on, combine what we say with practically what is happening on the ground. Don't miss the program.
Every Tuesday on The Shift.
The Shift, Tuesday at 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. My name is Daniel Wahome, and we'll be having a conversation about foot volleyball continuing in just a short while. But right now, as part of our news coverage, let's move over to Nairobi. And there is a dispute between Kenya Power and the Nairobi City County government. Let's listen in about this matter that has come up and has attracted has forced power to be cut off from Nairobi City County offices,
so that we are able to continue rendering service to our customers. The activities that have happened this morning have unfortunately disrupted our services at Steamer Plaza and at Electricity House. May I mention that Steamer Plaza also houses our National Contact Center, so it means it has disrupted our ability to receive calls from our customers and to offer them service. We are, however, making use of our offices in the counties to try and reach out to our customers, and where there is any distress call, to try and give them the service as is required, even as we work towards resolving this issue, understanding where the city county is coming from, and getting to an amicable resolution of the same. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. How keen are you not to switch off electricity in some of the essential facilities in the county, like hospitals?
That is a very good question. Every customer, a domestic, an industrial, a county government, a hospital, is expected that when they receive the service and they are billed for the service, they should pay for it. When they don't pay for it, then the avenue we have of demanding for the payment is a disconnection. I think the responsibility more lies to the customer to ensure that they pay their bills to avoid the disconnection. I would believe that a hospital is sensitive to the need that they need to keep the lights on. So they should prioritize paying of their electricity bills. I think it should not be a responsibility that should be pushed back to Kenya Power, that if a hospital doesn't pay a bill, then we should not think about disconnecting them. However, for corporate customers, we engage. As I have mentioned, we have engaged with the city county, and we continue to engage. And where a commitment is made, we allow and honor that commitment because they are a corporate entity. However, when you make a commitment and you continually don't meet it, and the bills are continuing to rise, the debt is continuing to rise, the revenue requirements for the sector are continuing to be dented, then you offer us no other option other than to discontinue your supply. But may I add, upon the commitment of the city county on Friday, we restored supply which we had disconnected because we believed in a gentleman's corporate arrangement that they were going to meet that commitment and we were going to move forward amicably in our relationship. Thank you.
And maybe how much do they owe you in total?
In total, the amount that they owe us is about 3 billion shillings. As we have continued to reconcile with the city county, we have already moved to sites that owe about 1.6 billion shillings. And so that we together have signed off and agreed that yes, that is debt. We have both been to site and confirmed. And that is what they committed to start paying as the verification exercise continues.
Well, Kenya Power and Nairobi City County in wrangles over power bills. 3 billion shillings, that's a lot of electricity consumed, and payments got to be done. How it affects services, we shall know from our bulletins that come. But now let's move over to Turkana County, where the Drought Resilience Program in Northern Kenya, the DRP&K, is actively being implemented in Turkana and Marsabit counties. And let us join Abdiaziz Hashim, who's our reporter up north.
Well, Wahome, you have clearly stated we're here in Lodwar, Turkana County, but let me take you back. 3 months ago, the similar program of the Drought Resilience Program under the State Department of Irrigation in collaboration with investors as well as the devolved units of Turkana in Marsabit County, we brought you the addition of Marsabit County. Now it is turn for Turkana County, a program that, of course, will not only uplift the livelihoods of the many Kenyans who are living in this vast county, but also improve their earnings in terms of, given that they are pastoralists, at the end of the day, they have to do something to aid a living in this particular area. And you do know the ambitious program that has been overtaken by the State Department for Irrigation in turning the arid and semi-arid areas into arable lands under the various irrigation schemes. This is among the key projects that the government intends to use to implement and, of course, uphold the livelihoods of the people. And, of course, here in Turkana County, we'll be visiting various sites. We want to see how those, especially when it comes to boreholes, the various irrigation schemes and other projects that are being undertaken in this particular scheme is going on. And of course we'll be joined shortly by none other than the Director of Water Management, Harvesting and Storage from the State Department of Irrigation, that is Mr. Daniel Odero, who also joined us in Marsabit County as well to talk about that particular issue. And of course you do know this is a two-county issue, but at the end of the day, the last time we spoke with the Principal Secretary of Irrigation, that is CPA Fantas Kimote, clearly stated this is a program that will be extended to other devolved units as and when these two devolved units are finished. Now, let me just pick the brains of the director here to tell us what are certain projects that will be undertaken under the Drought Resilience Program that is being undertaken in Turkana County. We're currently coming to you live from Lodwar. Director, thank you for joining us once more. Tell us a little bit about this program. We were in Marsabit. We witnessed what was happening. So what will be happening here in Turkana?
Thank you for this opportunity. My name, once again, as you've said, is Daniel Odero. I work in the State Department for Irrigation, where I coordinate the Drought Resilience Program in Northern Kenya. This is a program, a 6-year program that is financed by the government of Kenya and the Federal Republic of Germany through KfW, which is a development bank in Germany. The financing agreement was signed in 2018, and so far it's a 6-year program, so we are slated to end it in December this year, on 31st December 2025. This program is an open program that looks at drought mitigation measures in the two counties of Marsabit and Turkana. As you rightfully said, we were in Marsabit. Today we are here in Turkana, which is one of the vast counties in this republic. We are meant to know it's 77,000 square kilometers, and drought is an issue, as you can already see from where we are standing. It's a real issue. Water is an issue in this county. So we are looking at interventions in water for both human and livestock. We are looking at animal health. We are looking at household water in terms of communities and in terms of health centers and sanitation activities. So it is a multi-sectoral program that is open-ended. All this is in a pool of basket, but the communities are the ones who are to guide what sort of investment they want to pick from this pool of basket so that it can be implemented on their behalf. This county has a portfolio of 13 million euros, which is approximately 2.6 billion Kenya shillings. This is to go towards drought mitigation. It is in 4 clusters. We have Loima, we have Kalokol, we have Lodwar, where we are, and then we also have Kakuma. There are 4 clusters which are covered, intending to reach about 340,000 people, but this might increase now that we are going for the actual implementation. For this, now we are here with the bank, that is KfW, on a mission that is usually done annually. There are 3 projects that we are meant to visit, which are already kickstarted. We have Chok Chok borehole in Lodwar Central, that is Lodwar Ward. We have what is it called? The borehole, Nautin borehole. Nautin borehole is in Kanamkemer Ward, and then we shall end up with the Lokipetot irrigation scheme, which is also in Lodwar. So these are the projects that we are visiting for now, but it doesn't mean those are the only ones. We have projects spread across the county, and 7 projects have already been awarded. Contracts are going on, and we hope that they will deliver the objectives that the project is for looking towards.
Okay. Also joining us is Armin Fisher, the Portfolio Manager of the Rural Development, Biodiversity and Transport of KfW Bank. First of all, welcome to Kenya, and of course tell us the intentions of KfW in this particular part of the country.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me here today. having us, my team. As Director Odero said, we are currently here on a progress mission to review the progress of the project. So KfW is present in various sectors here in Kenya, supporting the government of Kenya in the sectors of energy, rural development, agriculture, irrigation, education, health. So this particular project, I'm actually very honored to be here with you today while you embark on the implementation of actual activities. So as Director Odero said, this project is being funded by the government of Germany through KfW Development Bank. Here in Turkana, it's a grant over 13 million euro. For Masabit, we currently have a loan over 8 million euro. And the ultimate aim is to support the livelihoods of the rural people here in those two counties. We, as KfW, we are seeing that, or we know, and you all know best, that agriculture is of big importance of the economy here in Kenya. At the same time, and especially here in the arid and semi-arid regions, it is under high pressure caused by droughts, pressure caused by the effects of climate change. We're trying to, with that funding, we're trying to help the people here. We're trying to provide them with sustainable access to water, sustainable access to food, so provide food security here. And we're trying to do that in a resilient way so that people benefit from the project activities over a very long period of time.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We've just heard from the director as well as Mr. Armin there from KfW Bank in terms of supporting this particular grant. It is a collaboration not only between the national government and investors, but also has roped in the county government of Turkana County, as well as what we witnessed back in Marsabit County. We'll be touring these various sites the director has just mentioned, and we'll brief you in our subsequent bulletins in terms of their progress and how it will uplift the livelihoods of the people of Turkana. For now, back to you, Wahome.
Thank you very much. Abdiaziz Hashim is in Turkana County, Lodwar, and this is where the Drought Resilience Program in northern Kenya is actively being implemented. This is in Turkana and Marsabit counties, and the program is to enhance rural incomes, reduce poverty, and ensure food security and promote sustainable economic growth. So he's going to be giving us reports throughout this week about that. We continue the conversation, and let me introduce my sign language interpreter at this point, Brian Muraro. He is bottom right of your screen. Conversation about developing football in the country, and we're with Muasa. She got into the sport, founded it, and is now running it. It's active, and just about 8 days ago, they had a league event in Nyali. And Masi,
Yes,
just give us, the whole effect when you saw the foot volleyballers out there down at the coast, and you had that event.
The event at Nyali was the first tournament of the year, where it was also a continuation of a circuit that we started last year. Our first event happened in Machakos, and the Nyali one was the second one. We intend to keep up with the circuit so that we can keep all the players that have been training to keep them active and having something to look forward to throughout the year. But besides that, we also have other major tournaments that now we are looking forward to having.
Tell us about these tournaments.
First off, we are working so hard towards having foot volley be part of the Kenya beach games, because of course it is a beach sport. And also we also have a major tournament in July. This is now an international tournament that we are hosting with the partnership with Association Foot Volley for All, an organization that saw what we were doing with foot volley here in Kenya, and they were very much interested in supporting us through infrastructure, the balls, the equipments, everything that we need for foot volley. And now, so these are part of the reason they are part of the reason we have in the tournament in July.
You have an project about conserving the environment. Tell us about that.
The Clean Beach Initiative, we came about that with regards to first keeping the space that we're playing in clean, and also it's just another way also giving back to the community for the projects that we're doing. And also it's also a project for us to raise finances and funds should our team need to travel overseas for events.
Impact so far?
So far, so good. I mean,
of the Clean Beach initiative.
The initiative has been received quite well because we actually launched it over the weekend alongside the event, and the impact has been quite massive in a way I didn't actually expect, because I've come to realize there are so many people who are interested in matters conserving the environment and all that. So the conversation has been actually well received, and it has been received well, more than what I expected or even thought, because a few posts on LinkedIn received quite the impression on so many people.
Okay, next big event, which date?
On 10th to 16th July 2025. Yes, this is the international tournament. We are going to have 3 days of camp in Machakos, training, and now 1 day travel to the coast, and 2 days event at Nyali Beach again.
Well, beach sport, have fun. Actually, for Watuabara kama sisi, that's the best time to travel down to the coast when it's not extremely hot, isn't it?
That is right.
Yes, the temperatures are cooler and we can enjoy that. Thank you very much. Mercy Mwasa founded beach volleyball here in the country. So we'll be moving on to another conversation, and this one is interesting because it's all about sports psychology. How does it work, and how is it all about that? So now, before we get into that conversation, let me just give you some news. Is that Kenya eventually is going to be hosting a match at home, and this is in the African World Cup qualifiers, and Nyayo National Stadium is going to be the host venue for that match. So if you're a Kenyan, the good news is that game is coming on the 24th of March, and that is a Monday. It's part of the World Cup qualifiers. Kenya against Gambia. Before that, we'll have played against Gabon. We'll have played against the Gambia before that. And remember, those matches will be live on KBC Channel 1. So let's move on to our next conversation. And this is all about sports psychology. And we have got Nancy Wangome. Well, Nancy, welcome.
Thank you.
And you know, when people see the role of psychologists in sport, the first thing is, okay, let me just request you to do this, separate the psychiatrist and the psychologist. To most people, ni daktari wa kichwa.
Absolutely. So a psychiatrist has to do with somebody who works around individuals who are clinically unwell, who may have schizophrenic or things like that. But a sports psychology is a person who works around the use of thoughts, words, and actions to win a game. So psychology of the game is the intellect of the game. So that's the difference. So it does not mean that the team members are unwell mentally. It means that you're sharpening their wit to leverage in the game, in winning the game specifically. Yes.
Just give us a background of this area of psychology and how it came to be, before we look at the different aspects.
Absolutely. Of it. So for me, it was very organic. I played volleyball in high school, Buruburu Girls.
Actually, not about for you, but the field itself, sports psychology, the history of it.
Okay. So the history of sports psychology is a development in the sports arena where some games are very intellectual. Specifically, I would speak about volleyball and basketball. Of course, chess is an intellectual game as well. So it's developed as a way of enhancing the game, raising the game. And so that's the background of sports psychology. And you find many coaches, as they're getting trained as coaches, there is a segment of sports psychology. However, as a team coach, for instance, in football, they're not necessarily able to take care of everything pertaining to sports psychology. So in the more developed countries, there is a sports psychologist for the team. Right, so that in the same way we have a nutritionist, a therapist in the team, is the same way sports psychology has a specific role in preparing the team for a game or a tournament or even for World Cup.
Well, we'll be coming to that and also be delving into some stories that have been told about how some players play the game of psychology wittingly or unwittingly, but eventually you get to hear and how they operate with that. Now, how else should we be taking a look at it? Think of the individual sport, team sport, and for those who work in the technical benches. So that's what we're going to be, having conversations about. The other thing that we'd like to bring out is how do you bring in this area of study into conservative cultures like ours? So, Nancy.
Yes.
So, let's talk about individual sports and how you handle it. I'm trying to think of tennis.
Yes.
Athletics would be another.
Yes.
Shooting would be another.
Yes.
Archery.
Yes.
Those individual sports.
Yes,
how do you approach
absolutely. That's easy. I mean, in that, it's about the individual learning the techniques of the game, but as well also having a goal. Psychology is about intention. And so when it comes to individual sports, I have worked with a chess player. She was a junior, and she went on to be the national champion. So it's about setting goals, learning to remain calm when the tension is high, and being able to leverage your personal giftings and advantages in the game. So I've also did a session with tennis players. They were based in the UK. And so it's actually very easy because it's one element of the player, which is the mind, the mental aspect, the mental agility, but also envisioning that you win the game. It's playing the game before the actual game. Yes.
So how do you get to work around them such that, number one, you're dealing with different characters?
Yes.
There may be those who are, how would I describe them? Let me just put it into two.
Yes.
There's the introvert and the extrovert.
And so it doesn't really matter because when it comes to the game, there's specific goals. I divide sports psychology into two. First, it's self-discovery. So that if it's an individual sport, then it's very easy. We only focus on you understanding yourself, what are your strengths, and where you have weaknesses, particularly the greatest challenge in sports is to handle the crunch, the tight moment, the final lap, and to have the preparedness to go through it successfully. And so whether they are introverts or extroverts, it's a nanny issue. The issue is, do they understand their character and how it fits into winning? Because sports psychology, for me personally, is about winning. It's about dominance. So understanding yourself and then being able also to understand your opponent and leveraging their weaknesses for your own advantage.
So I'm going to come about that actually
Yes.
with a good example. I mean, something I read. Let's now come to team sport.
Yes.
Because that's where it can get real crazy.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I was giving a little bit of history. I played volleyball, which is a team sport, and I'm 5'3", and you were just talking about the height of the net. But I realized, and this was by accident, my coach, Catello at the time, he was overheard speaking about my value in the team. That Nancy's value is psych. If she's in the game, then everybody's mind is towards winning the game. And so when I first engaged a team sport or team members in sports psychology, it was actually Gor Mahia, 2011. They were being beaten thoroughly towards the end of the year. And we were walking through Nyayo, and I said to my two friends, let's go talk to the treasurer. I want him to pay me to help the team win. And I simply told him that I'll help the team win. So when we sat with the team, first of all, is for the team to agree on, we're going into a game, what's the game plan? What is the outcome? So we talked about how many goals do you want to beat Thika United with? The strikers agreed, I'm going to score one, I'm going to score one. And that is precisely what happened the next day. So when the chairman was calling me the next day when they had beat Thika United 3-0, as we had discussed in the boardroom, we had realized that to set a goal is a critical part of sports psychology, and that a lot of times players, athletes take it for chance. They don't plan around it. You ask the captain, there is no real actual projection of how they want the game to go. So when we did that, we realized the power of having the conversation in a boardroom and everybody understanding, I'm the defender, our game plan is no one passes us. We're not going to concede a goal. And then the strikers say we're going to strike 3 times. And that's how we engaged. Now, the interesting thing about that is, so we did that with Gor Mahia in 2011, and they went on to have a winning streak for a number of years. In 2013, the CEO, AFC Leopards, Gor Mahia had just beaten AFC Leopards the weekend before, and there was a GoTV Shield where they intended to win the game. So he called me and said, listen, we've been beaten in the league, we want to win the GoTV Shield. And said, game on, call me, we went to the boardroom, did a meeting, and we created a plan that ensured that AFC Leopards beat Gor Mahia that following weekend. So it's about engaging the mind, understanding what do you want to achieve. You even set the specific number of goals. And the more effective way to have sports psychologists bring impact is through the training. These people call me when it's tough. You know, they call me when the game is really bad, not in the training sessions, not in the preseason. But that's really where the work is, to get these people to build their agility mentally. So it really worked for us each time.
Every team has got leadership.
Yes.
And that within the playing unit, there is what is known as the leadership in the dressing room.
Yes.
And then there's the technical bench.
Yes.
Let me get the story of, how you deal, especially with once the story of Kobe, the late Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
He has a story where he would actually play mind games with his teammates in training. And they say that it was said that he was a softie on the court, despite his performance, but not when they're training. How do you get people to understand this, such that they understand the in dealing with leaders, and you may see them being aggressive in training, but if you look at them on the court, it's a different human being, not as aggressive.
Yes. So that's tact, and that's an interesting story to hear. It's very, you see, when the game, there's already too much at stake. So if the leader brings pressure, he must only do so if he knows that his team members can handle it. Now, if he understands that these people are not very good with pressure, he can lay back and lead softly as a strategy to win, right? So sports psychology is really about the mind and to understand. And you're right. What I found in the different teams I engaged in is that there was need to develop the leadership even more, so that the captain is able to tell the team, this is our game plan. Because when the game is going on, the coach is outside the game. He's not on the pitch. So that leadership is critical. And yes, it requires an understanding of self, of teammates, and what they bring on the table, and the best strategy to handle an opponent. So it's a lot of dynamics.
Still another Kobe Bryant story.
Yes.
Very interesting. When Shaq joined the team, he had been told, this is your scoring. I think he did a series of games where he scored over 40. It was so long. When Shaq came back, he came down to mid-30s. How then do you help, and this was under the instruction from the coach, how do you help somebody understand that this is what's going on, such that this is the leader of the pack, don't always tend to outshine? How do you manage that?
That is a dynamic that has to be managed by the players themselves. It's very important for players to understand each other. So other than your strength, since it's a team sport, you have to understand what your teammates are bringing on the table. And sometimes that takes time. If you're bringing in a new player, it's very important to allow for that collaboration to develop, to sort of mushroom by itself. So that happens. Sometimes it affects the game, and that's normal. But then it's important for the coach and the technical team to be able to observe whether it's taking longer than needed, or there's something that needs to be done, or there's a separate conversation to be done off the court. So it really depends. It's a very dependable situation, and requires the involved parties to have understanding of self and of each other and what they bring to the team.
Now, to the technical bench.
Yes.
You have coaches who, on a touchline, they're known to be calm, but when they get into the dressing room, they're a very different animal.
Yes.
There are those who are known to be crazy on the touchline, in the dressing room, everywhere. You can tell by that.
Yes.
How do you work with the coaches? Because that's a whole, the way you deal with a coach is different.
Absolutely. And this is something that I thought on my way here, that other than thinking about sports psychology as beneficial to the players, this is something that as a country we need to focus on sharpening the coaches, because the psychology of the coach affects the game. I remember one time when we were playing volleyball and we had a very tough game, and the coach panicked, and his substitution was the dumbest move we have ever seen, and we were students. It was very dumb, but he was under tension. So it's also important to be deliberate to support the coaches.
So why would you say it was dumb? I mean, you mentioned
it was
it's volleyball.
just outright.
What was it? Was
if the pressure,
it the setter? Was it the libero? Or was it?
He did a multiple, and that's even the worst part. It was a multiple substitution. And we realized it was a panic move because he removed very critical people in the game when we really needed them to. And we actually lost that game. So, you know, it's even coaches need to learn to manage the pressure. And particularly if we want to dominate. Africans are very endowed physically, but I've seen us struggle when it comes to mental agility. And so it is important to develop the muscle even for coaches. So there is need for training. We did a training with coaches for volleyball, with the Volleyball Federation 2 years back. We had somebody coming from the Philippines. So even coaches need support. And this is very much out of topic, but we can talk about it another day. The diet is very important when you're handling pressure. So coaches need support to handle the pressure.
Just mention, what are you not supposed to eat? It's very easy.
No. Players, coaches, forget soda. It's going to slow your brain. You're going into a match, don't do soda. If you have nuts, cashew nuts, peanuts, or if you have Miranda, you're going to be good. You're going to be able to handle the pressure. So that is something that I believe that is needed for us to raise the game across the board. Football, basketball, rugby. It is needed for even coaches to be supported in handling the pressure, and even the individual games where the athletes need that at a global space.
I mean, at the risk of you repeating this.
Yes.
You mentioned about working against an opponent.
Yes.
I've had people say this is what we intend to do. Some can be crazy aggressive.
Yes.
Others can use, you know, how would I say, things that baffle you, but you really don't know what's going on. How do you work around that?
I mean,
we see that in team sports a lot.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm very competitive, and I'm working on it because it can get ugly sometimes. But you know, when it comes to those types of things, it is allowed. I mean, there's working within the ethics, right? You know, you can attack your opponent's psyche by intimidating, particularly in volleyball when you come to the net. It's a wonderful opportunity to intimidate the opponent by what you say, your expression. And so it's just working within the limits, but also if you notice your opponent has a weakness. We had a player in Moi Girls who was huge. I mean, she wasn't agile, and we knew it. And so for me, it was very easy. Just dodge the ball. Don't even spike it. Just dodge it. She's not going to get it. And that is allowed. And we won a game because of that kind of understanding and leveraging of weakness. And it's allowed in the sports industry as long as it is ethical. So.
When you're studying your opponents, studying the opponents, because that's another area I know that is developing. Everyone started with video analysis.
Yes.
Now they're looking at you know, different, you know, characteristics of players.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's...
Exactly, things like that.
Exactly. So that's where now it gets more, it can get dirty, but also it's still something you take advantage of. If somebody is easily pissed off, I remember we would even take advantage of a coach of a certain team who is easily tipped off to make fun of the players and then get him off the game, and then we win the game easily. So it's just, you know, that's the reality of the game. So you better be able to conceal your weaknesses while you study your opponent's weaknesses, because you are under study, you're being studied in the game, even before the game, you know, so each team has to adapt.
Let's talk now about something. Talk about Kenya and psychology and how it comes, bringing it into sport. First, we know that there is, for this to work, it's a trust level that first must be built.
Yes.
And let's look at our conservative culture, plus the perception of psychology.
Yes.
As they would say, you're trying to get information from me.
Yes,
So how do you deal with, I mean, how do you blend in this in a country like ours?
Education. This platform you've given me is excellent, so just begin there. And also there is a notion that, so we deal with it by sharing information. Everybody has a psyche, everybody has a mind. To learn to use it is of importance, whether you're a player or not. I mean, even in life, even how men go about getting ladies or kutuweka box. It's psychology. So there's nothing, it's not about being unwell, it's about leveraging a gift we have from God. And so, like I said, I am very, very short in the volleyball game, but I had advantages. We played Tetu in Nyeri, and I would hear the coach saying, why are you letting this short girl beat you? Because psyche, it wasn't strength. It's not all about strength. And so if we can combine our physical prowess and giftings with a trained mind, then we are going to have an easy time dominating Olympics, global championship. We have the under-20 football team going to the World Cup. This is an opportunity.
To the Africa Cup of Nations.
To the Africa Cup of Nations. So this is an opportunity. We to that they have a certain capacity physically. Can we sharpen their brains? And this is me chokozaing Salim to call me and tell me to do sports psychology for the team.
I'm sending you an invoice for bringing your business and trying to pitch it right here on KBC Channel 1. Nancy, thank you very much for being with us. That's the story of sports psychology, and she has done a lot, I mean, giving real life experiences and how it works in sport. Well, time for me to leave. Thank you for being with us right here on Sports Check as we had conversations about masters swimming, foot volley, and now psychology in sports. Our sign language interpreter has been Brian Moreau, and on behalf of the team that put this all together, we're saying asante sana for being with us. And remember, at noon, it's Kurunzi Mashinani.
When he was born, he was fine and he marked his milestones very well, the initial milestones from birth. I think the major milestone that signaled a challenge was when he spoke, but he said some words, one word, just one word, at about a year, and then shortly thereafter, he didn't go beyond that. Being the first child, you realize, oh, this child is not talking. What's the problem? He can follow adverts, he can sing, but he's not talking. So I would say speech is what really signaled the fact that there was something to think about. And that's when we began thinking and asking ourselves what the problem could be, who could resolve it. And that's when we went to see, I think in the initial days, we went to see the speech therapist. Then they realized actually the signals were going to the brain, meaning he would speak at a later point, that he just delayed and he would speak later on. So then they advised that we wait for the time he will speak, and that allow him to learn one language at a time and not expose him to many languages, so that he moves from one then gets into another. And that's what we did.
My name is Jane Mwendwa Alex. A mother of 4, and blessed with the last one is autistic or a genius. Unfortunately, the journey has been hard because I sank into depression. I was in denial. I refused to accept that there is a big problem. Of course, there is nothing to accept. The pain is real. So you cry whenever you can. But one thing I learned along the way is you have to fight. You have to fight because you're not just fighting for you. You're fighting for the little one. And as well, you're fighting for the other children. We talk about autism as, I would just describe it as simple as a neuro disorder. It is not a mental disorder. It's where our children see life differently, slightly the gray and white, not black and white.
Initially they said ADHD, so that's attention deficiency hyperactivity disorder. Yeah. But when we came on later on, we have all these advanced technologies assessing people's brains, we ended up with mild autism.
So we say a person has mild autism if a person presents mild challenges with speech and language skills, social interaction, and sometimes experiences challenges with flexibility of thought and behavior. That means that they want things to be done in a particular way, and in most cases, their way. They have speech. Most people with mild autism have speech, and they communicate. But sometimes their communication is skewed on one direction, maybe talking about specific things that they like, or sometimes they know certain topics and they just want to talk about that over a period of time. In terms of social interaction, they're social again. People with mild autism will engage in social interaction, but when you closely monitor their social interaction, you find that they have gaps. There are certain gaps in terms of initiating social interaction, joining in, following rules and instructions. There are those gaps. And sometimes it can take a long time before they are identified because they tend to fit in the society, but you get mild gaps here and there.
I just want to know your name, what you do, and where you reside. Yeah. Yes, everything else.
That's weird. You didn't watch me eat.
What you eat?
Maybe you should take half a cup of tea.
Yeah?
Take a little.
Oh, I take a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you're not just looking at me.
Oh, not just looking at you.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, because it's weird.
Yes.
Oh, and embarrassing.
Yes, I'm eating and you're just looking at. I look like.
You look like
a selfish glutton.
Oh, like a selfish glutton.
Yes.
Oh, to you. To you, how would you look like a selfish glutton?
Because I'm eating, I'm not even sharing.
You're sharing, yes. Oh, because that's how you have tea with someone when you meet outside. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called having a date.
Their parents would hide these guys. They would just or flog them or dump them in some school somewhere, some institution. We decided no, we're staying with this guy. Let people understand him, and whoever needs explanation as to this guy, we can always sit down and have a discussion.
You can never choose a child, and you can never choose your parents. Yeah? So I did not have a choice. I did not go and make a decision. Now I'm ready for baby Ivan. So someone not able to really be a bit sympathetic, that's a journey. It's a very personal journey because you can never understand the pain of having a special child until the day you have one. So when people are more clear, when people think that you have spoiled a child, when people think as a mother I failed, when people think it's because I was busy doing other things, it's very difficult. It's the most painful. As soon as I heard the words people have used, I was able to accept that some people are meant to be in my life for a while. So it was just time for them to leave, and they left. And I'm happy they did. That one I never negotiate. Anything that has to come, actually not just to baby Ivan, even when I'm talking about other children, because I can never make a choice of the child that I've bought. I can just try as much. So there are days you crash. Yeah? There are days you come and you just want to cry. And I cry a lot. And that heals me a lot. And then also, I talk a lot with my children, because I want them to be psychologically ready, for them to know how the society is going to handle their brother. So I keep on telling them, oh, we went to this place, like we went to a matatu the other day, we are seated, and my baby, of course, is a bit verbal, and you could just tell the way people are staring. Being human, you feel pain. And unfortunately, you cannot go explaining to everyone your situation. Yeah. So you can only hold yourself so much, heal yourself. Just put your self-esteem up there and tell yourself this is a gift from God. It is what it is.
As we all know, he's autistic, but he's very friendly. But when it comes to disturbing him, it isn't very good. Yeah, we are friends with him, but not that much. We fight sometimes just like siblings do.
Your friends.
We now interested him to go into the psychology around the corner, which is a hospitality college, and so we've taken him there. They've just done a course in pastry, and we are thinking in the new year he could do other courses. And what informs that is that we think that in future we could utilize those skills because they are very practical.
I bake different kinds of cakes, and apart from cakes, I also bake donuts. What I can tell about baking is that baking is also enjoyable for me, but it's not easy as usual, and I sometimes struggle.
We thought that whatever else we do, we also look at his future. Where is this guy gonna be in our absence? What could he do? So if we can establish the place to be the kind of place he can go and sit, and he can be assigned duties. Make some pastry, fry this. Or, we have guests who want. He can be able to do those kind of things. He's already good in IT. He can manipulate it. It's just that we can't say he has special interest in it. But if you found him idle here, he would be doing some things on the laptop.
Okay, to be a baker, to start my own business, my own bakery.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, yes, but before that, I also planned to be an economist, to study economics.
What changed?
What changed? Okay, it's because the way I didn't succeed.
Majority of people with mild autism will be able to go through their education quite well if they get support. And as I mentioned, that majority of them tend to have a good level of intelligence. They are likely to do well in their studies and get into certain professions. Interestingly, a big number of autism prefer engineering courses. So IT like courses, or mechanical engineering, agricultural engineering, anything to do with technology. They are gurus in technology. They are the best. If you get a photographer who has autism, you'll have the best photographer.
Okay, what I can tell about me liking photos and videos is that I just take videos anytime, like in church when there is praise, because for our church is lively, and it is fun. I enjoy taking videos so that I keep them and also send them to people.
Parents have to monitor their kids from the very early ages, see how, if you suspect there is something out of the normal from other kids that age, please run and just have that early intervention done.
So for mild autism, as they grow up, then the burden starts lightening up, becomes a little bit light. But if early intervention was not done, it becomes even more complicated as they grow up. That means that you need to work closely with maybe a speech therapist. If there's language-related issues, you need to work closely with an occupational therapist. But the most important thing in early years is usually play.
The major characteristics of this boy is...
No.
Hi, baby. No, ABC. What?
Apple. Alligator. Meow. Bus. What a...
Here. Go sit over there. The major ones are tiptoeing, the violence. They're very violent, but violence, that one I can tell you for free. that it's just because he's looking for attention. He's trying to communicate. It's just a means of communication. So whenever you see your child is trying so hard to be violent with you, go to his level, hold him, show him a lot of attention and love. Try to understand where he's coming from. You always get information. Yes, I am not 100%, but at least on that part, I know it's a win-win. Okay. The jumpy, also you can calm it down by allowing the baby to just go out. Let him be outdoors. Yes, that one helps. Yes, and of course the therapist. I keep on advocating for the therapist.
Engage the child in a lot of play to develop language skills, to develop social interaction, to develop their emotional skills, to develop their pre-academic problem-solving skills. So a lot of play. Cut down on TV. So nowadays, and caregivers are also busy, and therefore they leave children watching TV or playing with phones, and then they do not develop certain skills. So cut down on screen and let your child focus more on social interaction.
Yeah, what we know is really bad on him is the soda, the cakes, because now the sugars are too high. He does not take tea, so he doesn't do sugar. So of course, he loves candy. You'll give him that candy and you'll see he's on the high note. He's hyper, like any other child. So nothing much to really worry about. But the key word is try and identify what works for your baby. Yes, but it is very expensive. Of course, as Esther Wahome was saying, the system, the international system is the easiest. The British system is very easy for them. So that one always is very scary. As I walk this journey, I'm very scared. But I always say the same God who gave us this boy, the same God will provide when that time comes. But for now, he's doing well. The squeezing is very good. He's loved there. He's really appreciated over there. Don't take the children to a special school because it will worsen the situation. These kids can learn. They'll learn from the other children. They'll pick they will fight for their lives and they will be fine. Yeah. Yes, I know it might not be 100, but I really know that if you take your child to a normal school, that child is in a good space.
Juice or coffee?
Okay, me, I like juice.
We didn't have a moment we were in denial because maybe it's the way we realized that there's a challenge. We said, okay, this is what God has given us.
Yeah.
We didn't ask, we don't know, but we'll do our best. Whatever He puts in our hands, we'll do our best to ensure that
for planting him right
yes,
here.
that this child is well taken care of. And that's what we've done.
With a smile on your face, as you cry as you go for the therapist. Cry there, but you're still helping your child. Do not try and cry and forget what is important. You need to save your child. Yes, you need to save your child. The world is cruel, the world is rude, the world has not accepted our children, so it is upon you to make a choice. To be crying, to feel sorry for yourself, please do. It is important. Feel bad, cry, scream, shout, do everything that you can. But as you do that, still carry your baby and take them for the help that they need, and that is therapy.
Who is closer to baby Ivan, you or Natalia?
Natalia.
How did you take it when you heard that baby Ivan is autistic? Does it trouble you?
No. I just love how God created my family, and I don't have any trouble with my family. Even if we argue, we disagree, I'm still happy with my family.
hii ni yako. Peke yako maliza, hakuna mtu mwingine anakuingililia. Toa hapa.
Mimi nimegojea tafadhali. Ni ukule hiyo chakula. Unaonwa saa hii kula. Very good girl. Very good girl. Nini? Tuko na emergency. Ile